feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it sinks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank. We just had a great show with Daron Plummer of A+ Technologies. I'm your host, Rich Jensen, along with my co-host, David Sims. Each week, you can catch on our YouTube channel our post-show wrap-up of the show that we just completed. You'll definitely want to go to arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com and download the entire podcast, because not only was it a blast, we had a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, but man, there's some things in cybersecurity you need to know. And if you don't, you're probably in big trouble. I think we're going to make a few changes.
Man. Freaking me out on that show. You guys got to listen to the show. It is funny. It was great, but I just realized so many things about things that I don't know and things that we need to know as business owners. But one of the questions I asked you was about, should you have some kind of tape over your device's camera? And your answer was very interesting. Share that with our viewers.
Right. So should you have tape over your device's camera? Yes.
Should we have tape over this camera? Right?
Well, because there's so many vulnerabilities that could actually leave your device hackable to where people can actually remotely watch your cameras on your devices without you knowing. So absolutely.
And the thing that was scary about it, he's talked about they get into the I don't understand that, I'm not a tech person, but they get into the root. So they're operating before your phone's even on.
Absolutely.
And they can watch, they can listen, they can do whatever they want, which is kind of a scary thing if you ask me.
Absolutely.
Very scary.
Yeah. Hey, one of the things that I think was really useful for a new entrepreneur or new business owner, when we asked you what your first business mistake was, or your biggest business mistake, share with our viewers what that was, because I think it's really key. People can do that a lot when they first start out.
Well, my biggest business mistake was underpricing myself. I went in my particular verticals and my targets, I deal with high-end professionals.
Yeah.
And so I'm coming in the door half price to the competition, so that actually, bit me in the backside, because they're thinking you couldn't possibly know what you're talking about for this rate that you charge.
And you said you did that for an entire year.
Yeah, whole year.
Shoot, we should have talked to him his first year in business. We'd have a half-price system with top price dollar.
We really believe you can do what you do, but we'll take the half price, man.
Yeah, we're not doubting your capabilities. Give us a half-price quote.
We'll give you a promotional price.
But it's a great point that you made, is that you don't undervalue yourself. You're providing a literally almost invaluable service because the whole business world runs around tech.
Absolutely.
And the risks are huge.
Very huge.
Huge, yeah. One of the things we didn't talk about, we talked about a lot of really good stuff, and our viewers should really listen to the podcast, but when we broke, you talked about ransomware. And share with our viewers about that, and help them understand what's going on with that and why it's a huge risk for their businesses.
Okay. So ransomware it's a new virus or malicious attempt, which basically takes all of your data and encrypts it to where you don't have access to it. What's so crazy about that is there's nobody on this planet that can help you once you get hit with ransomware. Even the city of Atlanta got hit with ransomware, and they had all the FBI and all these agents, and they couldn't get the data back. So either you pay the ransom or you just make do without it. But here's the problem with paying a ransom. There is no guarantee that your data is not reinfectable, if that's a word.
They give you your data back, but
they can give you your data back, but send you some infected files and do it all over again 6 months from now.
Whoa.
So you really need to take those times to safeguard your data, to provide the right securities for your devices to ensure that things like that don't happen. Because once it happens, there is no recovery.
Right, and I think you also mentioned that ransomware is not just targeting big companies or whatever. It's just out there, and anybody
does not discriminate. You could be the one doctor office, or you could be Target. It does not discriminate. So everyone is susceptible to ransomware.
Yeah,
and it's a big risk for small businesses because they can't afford.
So I have two follow-up questions in a little bit of time we have left. Is number one is, do you have to pay in Bitcoin?
Yes.
You have to. So some kind of cryptocurrency you got to pay in,
because it's untraceable.
Which is why you need to invest in Bitcoin.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
That's another reason why the Bitcoin market has drastically ransomware. That's the whole front of it. It's ransomware to get the digital currency market skyrocketing, and that is the whole purpose of why Bitcoin.
And then the second thing, to deal with ransomware, you have to make sure your general liability insurance covers cybersecurity issues, right? Yeah, breaches.
And I don't know if it's under GI, or GL, but it's definitely an addition you need to talk to.
You need to make sure business owners need to make sure they have an assessment of their Get there with their
Absolutely.
property and casualty agent and make sure that they've got the right coverage.
Hey, I say it every week. I tell you, you got to listen to the podcast, but you got to listen to the podcast. And especially if you're a dad of a teenage daughter, we learned the good way.
That's right.
I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to go listen to the podcast to hear the whole
that's
thing.
right. That's right.
Darren, it was just so great having you on. And thank you so much for coming on. For folks that want to know more about A+ Technologies, talk to you, get a consultation, somehow start looking into this, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you or your
So
firm?
the best way to get a hold of me is to call my office at 501-712-0815, or you can go to our website at www.aplustekar.com, and plus is spelled out, and send us a request.
Excellent, excellent. Well, hey, next week we're going to have another guest, Gina Radke of Galley Support Innovations. You won't want to miss it. Like I say, all of our shows are great. You can always catch the entire podcast at arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com. And until next week, remember, stay safe. And in the business world, we all start out as shrimp.